Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch presented by Mike and Kyle. I'm Kyle. That's Mike. Oh, man. Well, we still got this late game going on, so that will determine how this late slate goes for me. I have 3 players in this game, so we'll see.
Cool. Who you got?
I got JD Martinez, who's up at the plate right now. He'll probably strike out again. And Justin Upton, who's right behind him, who also has done nothing. So I found myself slipping. But I'm just trying to hang on.
Darvish has got it today, I guess. Welcome guys to the evening show edition of the Payoff Pitch. I guess if you guys are watching now or tomorrow, I wish you the best of luck, and we're going to break down the slate for you guys. I think this is something that we're going to try to do going forward. We're going to do our full slate breakdown here the night before, so you guys have all day to digest and kind of watch at your leisure.
Yeah, buddy. By the way, Celtics are showing why they're the best team in the league.
Pulled one out with Avery Bradley. Hey, they needed that confidence boost, so got one on the road.
Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Avery Bradley, Isaiah Thomas out. Those are stars born tonight.
Okay. I'll let you bask in that glory for one night.
Don't kill my vibe. Well, we got a 9 game.
9. Yep.
9 game main slate tomorrow. So a short slate.
Mondays.
Theo said the Celtics suck, but I don't remember the Blazers winning a game this year in the playoffs. Could be wrong. Can you fact check that, Mike?
Well, let me think. Yeah, no, it didn't happen. It's all right, Theo. It'll be all right.
Oh, JD Martinez struck out. That's good.
You called it, man. Yes. So, slate breakdown, 9 games, Monday night, short slate. Again, we'll talk about it every week. I mean, some people play better on these short slates. I have been actually playing better on these Monday, Thursday slates. So, I'm kind of looking forward to this. I think it's a interesting slate nonetheless. Kind of looking at it from afar.
I already have a couple pitchers I'm really, really eyeing tomorrow. And then some stacks that are jumping off the page as well.
What was that last part?
Some stacks that are jumping off the page.
Yeah, it seems a little cut and dry. We have every Vegas line out except for the game in Chicago. Yeah. San Francisco, Chicago. So
Chicago's probably going to blow up tie block tomorrow, but the StatCast numbers actually favor tie block, so that'll be interesting.
In the matchup, or just overall on the slate?
Just StatCast. I mean, he's not giving up a lot of hard contact. He's not getting barreled. But, I mean, it only takes one game to change that, and there's limited sample size there.
Right. But I think this game, speaking of
there's some
stacking.
I was just going to say, man, there are some stacks already. If Kyle Gibson is the pitcher, I don't believe the pitcher is still to be determined. Because they had their doubleheader today.
No, everything I'm reading, it is Gibson's going to get the start.
Okay, yeah, that's what I saw too. So, I mean, we'll see. It does still say to be determined on the MLB official site, but this is our best guess. And there's a stack to be had against him.
Yeah, for those listening, we're talking about Minnesota at Baltimore in Camden Yards. First of, I think, 3.
Now, the one concern I have with this, Mike, is both Minnesota and Kansas City are on the slate tomorrow. Gotta change your headphones. His headphones died.
I'm here. I just died.
The one concern I do have is Minnesota and Kansas City, both on this slate, just played double headers today. So I'm going to expect to see some sitting. Brian Dozier, older guy, played in both games. Salvi Perez, both older guy, catcher, played in both games. Had a day though, 3 home runs.
Yeah, he did.
So I'm interested to see. I'd imagine Dozier will play, but don't be surprised if he doesn't. Luckily, we'll have all the news before lock. The lineup will be out well before, but obviously trying to break it down from the night before. Have to prepare for that. Oh, what I say? Justin Upton and JD both struck out.
Yeah, I think platoon versus righties. You see Kenny Vargas tomorrow.
Yep.
Probably some Max Kepler.
Robbie Grossman could slide in. We'll see possibly that. So, there's some potential plays here. I think a twin stack is absolutely in play against Ubaldo in a hitter's park.
Yeah, so what I have on Gibson, apparently, so he was banished to the minors a little over 2 weeks ago, had an 8.2 ERA in the majors. In AAA, 6 starts, in 2 starts in AAA, posted a 2.92, but again, this is just probably a spot start. I think him and Mejia are kind of competing for that 5th start, kind of on the shuttle between the majors and AAA right now for Minnesota.
I guess it's the best of the worst, right?
Yeah, so this guy was getting shelled in the majors. They sent him down. They had hopes for him, but I think you can definitely stack against Kyle Gibson today. All the regulars are in play for me.
The one concern I have, Chris Davis, we know he's streaky, and 2 straight games, I don't think he has a hit. And so
6 strikeouts in those 2 games as well.
Yeah, I know it is Kyle Gibson, so we'll give him that. And he doesn't have a lot of strikeout potential, but it's just concerning, man. He's 3,900 on FanDuel, 47 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
It's a high price to pay
for a guy. Pay it. I totally agree. I think there's a couple other better first base options, but it's a stack he does.
I'd almost,
on the other hand,
rather pay Vargas against Ubaldo. Yeah,
I totally agree. Vargas, man, versus righties, 308 with 5 homers. Versus lefties, batting under 100 with no homers. So, obvious platoon guy that has a lot of power versus righties. And this guy Ubaldo obviously gives up to bombs. He's got a 2.3 home run per 9 this year.
Look at his home run per 9 versus lefties, 4.5.
Yeah. And then you couple that with, look at that at home.
Yeah.
Home runs versus lefties at home. Vargas, a platoon power guy versus righties. It makes a lot of sense.
I still get behind some Sano tomorrow. I can get behind if this is the lineup, or they might flip it and go Vargas 5. They did that tonight, but Sano, Kepler, Vargas, and even Castro's a potential play. He's under 3K on FanDuel.
Catcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, Castro's another guy. If you look at his ISO numbers versus righties, it's much higher. 177, I think.
Yeah.
Is that what you have? Yeah.
177.
And versus righties, it's at 0.54 or something. Dismal.
So I like a Minnesota stack, definitely. On the Baltimore side, Davis, if you're going to stack him, I think has to be in there. I look at Wellington Castillo. Trumbo, I don't know if he's heating up or not yet. He's putting a little better games together. And then Machado. It's an expensive stack, but it's one that I think is going to be high owned against Gibson.
Yeah, Trumbo's definitely heating up. Castillo, 3 home runs in his last 2 games, but I caution that play against righties. In his career, his home run per fly ball percentage is much, much lower. It goes from 18% to 10% from versus lefties and righties. Jonathan Scope, if you guys want to find somebody else, to go against the ownership in this stack, he's a reverse splits guy. That's much better versus righties than he does lefties as far as all the numbers.
So I think with that said, neither pitcher's in play.
Neither pitchers. Yeah, definitely looking at some bats here.
Colorado and Philly.
I think you said the same thing about this game.
Yeah, Jared Eichhoff, man. Fly ball pitcher in Philadelphia. I think you can definitely look at some of these Colorado bats. And Jeff Hoffman, man, 58% fly ball rate. I think he only has 1 or 2 starts this year, though. So limited sample size. But with that said, high fly ball rate, high hard contact. I think, there's plenty of plays to be had here. I look at Altier. I look at Michael Saunders, I look at Tommy Joseph, and I look at Freddie Galvis for the Phillies. On the Colorado side, I think I would go Blackman, Arenado, Cargo, and Walters could fit that stack if he plays tomorrow.
Yeah, so touching on Hoffman, who is starting for Colorado and Philly. Another guy who's getting a spot start. He's made one start this year against the Dodgers in LA and actually played well.
No, it was in Coors.
Was it in Coors? I thought it was in LA. Anyway, but
yeah,
he had
regardless.
Yeah, had 8 Ks in 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, 6 hits allowed. He is a first-round pick, 24 years old, came over in the Tulo trade, making a spot start. Plus fastball, plus curve, but has been up and down. So, he shows K potential, I think. Obviously, 8 Ks as a righty versus the Dodgers is interesting.
No one played him.
Yeah, no one played him. I don't recommend playing him here. I still think you can attack, like you just said. I second all the plays. The only thing I had to add with Colorado is Mark Reynolds, man, has been mashing righties this year.
That's actually true.
Like,
yeah.
WOBA of 465 versus righties. It's kind of unreal. I mean, he's also has a BABIP of over 400 versus righties away and at home. So definitely look for some regression there, but still worth noting against a fly ball pitcher, a guy that has an extreme uppercut swing that has just been mashing righties. So another first base option.
Averaging a home run every 12 at bats versus righties this year, and a 305 ISO. I don't know if you mentioned the ISO, but yeah, 305.
Yeah, insane numbers for sure. So another first base option there. Blackman obviously gets the platoon.
You know who's another
Payoff
guy?
is
If he starts, Matt, I know they've been starting Alexi Amarista. If Pat Valika starts tomorrow, he holds a 259 ISO versus righties this year. So something to look at as
filling
well.
in for Story. He's had a couple of good games this year for sure. Eichhoff bottom 5 in all the StatCast numbers is that we're looking at as far as average exit velocity and 95 plus percentage for all the pitchers on this slate. So
yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah, not a lot. You know what? I will say this though. On our pitcher chart, Hoffman did get a positive boost
against the Phillies.
Against the Phillies, when we factored in the opponent, he did get a positive boost. So that's something to look at. I love looking at the change in score, whether it goes up or down. For what it's worth, Eichhoff went up as well. That's interesting. So we'll see. I mean, he's still lower than Hoffman. I think that's probably because the K upside. So be interested to see. I don't think I play either pitcher. Neither pitcher is high on the chart. I should say that, but just something to look at.
Yeah, I think you definitely stack both sides of this game as well.
Now here is a game I'm really interested. So Pineda he's gotten Moose and Salvi both own him. They have in a good amount of plate appearances, fair enough sample size. Both have 2 home runs off of him and have a batting average of over 350 versus him.
Interesting.
Salvador Perez has absolutely mauled righties this year. He did it again today. He holds a 407 WOBA and a 304 ISO versus righties this year. Home run every 12 and a half at bats. Ridiculous.
Right.
Like I said, my concern is if he's going to play. Catching both games of a doubleheader and literally, probably an hour of rest in between, that's concerning.
Yeah, traveled as well.
Yep.
So
don't be surprised.
Definitely concerning. I think for this entire lineup, I would imagine, especially as a catcher, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the catcher. So don't be surprised if you see Drew Butera fill in there. But I'll hold him in there for now. Brandon Moss is a guy I think you got to look at as a one-off if you're gonna, if you're gonna stack KC, which I think they are in play. I do in New York against Pineda. I think you can stack KC. Moose.
Yeah.
Moose, Salvador, and Moss are the guys I look at if Salvi plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this game, Kansas City and New York, is a little bit different in my mind than the other two we just talked about. I think the pitchers have a little bit more going for them.
I agree. I'm all
Pineda,
over.
obviously.
Go ahead.
I was just saying. I mean, this in New York, obviously the home runs can be had. So
Absolutely.
Pineda obviously does give up the bomb. So it's instead of stacking Kansas City, I think I look to see who has the most potential for a home run and kind of one off there. I don't know that. I mean, these two teams did just. I mean, these two pitchers did play this opponent. Pineda just came out of Kansas City with a quality start. Did give up 2 home runs.
And then you're shifting.
But did come. Yeah, shifting to a better ballpark. So that's what I'm saying. Like, he did come away with a quality start, but gave up the home run. So, I'm not looking for Kansas City to put up a 5-6 spot on Pineda tomorrow. But I could see a couple bombs go out. Vargas, on the other hand, got shelled by the Yanks. Didn't make it. He made 90 pitches in 4 innings. Gave up like 6 earned. Kind of the start that was coming to him. And I think if you look across baseball, no one really believes in Vargas's 88-mile-an-hour fastball, leading to him leading the league in ERA.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting to me, I actually kind of like Vargas, and I know he has a high fly ball rate. That's the only thing that's concerning to me. His StatCast numbers are crazy. 2% barrels per batted ball event, 85.9% average exit velocity. That's way under average.
It is. He's been having a career year. There's no doubt about it. All the numbers across the board,
and
point to Vargas.
Yeah, and the fact that we're 7-8 starts into the year now. I mean, is it something we can start to buy into? I know in the beginning we were like, oh, regression, but can we maybe start to buy into this?
Perhaps, and I think you might see lower ownership on him tomorrow. Obviously, his price has dipped a lot on DraftKings, at least from where it was. And just because, like I said, he just got shelled by the Yanks. So people are going to look at that last start, see it was against the same opponent, and probably it's going to raise some eyebrows for sure. So, again, I don't know. I'm not really 100% on playing Vargas just because watching that game, he looked so bad, man. And that's the first time I watched him start to finish in a game. And, it's hard for me to believe that a guy that can't throw the ball 90 miles an hour is going to lead the league in ERAs, you know what I mean?
Here's the one thing I will say, and this is what changes when lineups come out. Depending on what lineup we get for Kansas City, I mean, we talked about if Perez is out, maybe Moose sits, I don't know. If some of these big bats in this lineup sits, I'm going to shift 100% to Pineda, quite honestly. I mean, the K upside is still there, and then you take out the home run threats in this lineup.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my play on Pineda is 100% determined by the lineup KC puts out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Pineda. Again, more of a tournament play. He's a head case, man. He is a tough guy to watch play, especially if you're betting some money on him. Goodness. I keep saying they need to get that guy in some therapy or something. Maybe some medication. Because it's weird. It's tough to watch. Yankees bats against Vargas.
I'm not looking to stack the Yankees.
I mean, their 2-3 is always righties, which is just kind of a revolving door of righties, and then you got Didi who hits better against lefties. So I think it's the same sort of scenario with the Yanks. I don't know that I want to stack there, but I think I look at the guy whose matchup seemingly is the best one-off type situation for a homer.
Well, that would be Aaron Judge, no doubt about that.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. I don't know if he's the best guy to pay $5K for today, but
I would look. If you're going to look for a one-off with home run potential, I look at Matt Holliday. If you want to get away from Aaron Judge, or
I don't mind that call at all.
Aaron Hicks might lead off against the lefty, so that could be interesting.
I don't know if he'll lead off. I think.
Who would they put? You would think they'll start Gardner still up top?
Yeah.
And then they'll move probably Didi up to 6, Headley up to 6, Didi to 7, and Hicks at 8.
I would hope. I keep saying I really want them to put him in the 2-hole, but we'll see.
They're not going to do that, but
yeah.
Elliott Tampa. Now this is an interesting game as well for me. Odorizzi. I feel like he's due for some regression. He's had some nice starts this year. And he does get the benefit of the doubt of facing a not the best LA lineup. But they did just throw up a number on the Mets, and Odorizzi is giving up hard contact, fly balls, and has a high home run per 9. So I don't think I go there, and he's not really looking good on. I mean, his fly ball rate is much higher than we want it to be, and so for that reason, he's not popping off on the sheets at all on the pitcher chart.
Yeah, he's had a rough go, I think, and the fly ball numbers and the stats that we look at for DFS, like hard contact, home runs, seemingly he's giving them up. It doesn't really have the K upside to really pay off the price tag on DraftKings. He's a top 5 pitcher tomorrow at 8,300. However, I will say, you look at his average against stats that we don't really look at much.
193.
His whip as well is actually top 10 in the league. So maybe he's been getting a bit unlucky. XFIP doesn't really say that he is, but
yeah, his XFIP
there's something to be.
His XFIP is actually above average, so he's pitching above average for a pitcher, meaning it's below. It's bad. It's worse than average. How about that?
Right, and that's usually tied to BABIP a little bit, and so that might have a lot to do with his low whip. Yeah, again, I'm not really a pitcher I'm looking to target much, but not one I'm looking to pay at that price point.
Same. Mike Trout or Aaron Judge. On FanDuel, they're a little different prices, but DraftKings, they're similar.
Yeah, $500 difference, so that's kind of a little bit, but I think I would definitely pick Trout over Judge.
Okay. If I were to stack any side, it would be Tampa. I would attack JC Ramirez. I'm not going to play Odorizzi, but I'm not going to stack against him just because I don't like the lineup. I think Corey Dickerson is incredibly hot right now. Handsome too, but Corey Dickerson leading. I'd imagine he's going to lead off again tomorrow. He stays hot. I like Logan Morrison as always. Dude, his price is almost up to 4K on FanDuel. He started the year at 2,200.
Really? I remember that actually.
Yeah.
We were talking about if you want a free play,
Yeah, Logan Morrison.
He's leading off.
And now here he is, almost 4K. One of the most expensive first basemen.
Oh, Logan, yeah.
And then Colby Rasmus, I think, is still him and Tim Beckham. Tim Beckham's a reverse split guy. So versus a righty dude, I can honestly, I think this is going to be a stackable lineup all year. Dickerson, Morrison, Rasmus, and Beckham.
Yeah, and we've already seen many time after time people roster this Tampa Bay pitcher going against Tampa Bay because of the strikeout potential.
And
it's no joke. They strike out the most in the league. They're actually on the pace to set the major league record in strikeouts right now. But it's home run or nothing with this team, and JC Ramirez has had a couple 9K starts, so I could see some ownership there especially on DraftKings where there's really not much to like down low. So I think I like a Tampa Bay stack against the chalk if it is indeed.
Yeah,
going to grab some ownership.
We'll find out more. Obviously, as kind of the big shows come out and talk about who they're on. Dewey says Tampa versus righties at home is a thing.
It is. People will be playing some JC Ramirez tomorrow. There really isn't much else down there.
If that's the case, man, I'll gladly take a Tampa stack again in a GPP.
Or again, like I said, try to find the one or two guys that's going to hit a bomb, for sure.
Here's going to be an interesting game that we look at. Why is Michael Fulmer? Oh, that's why. Hold on. Give me 1 second. It'll fix itself. I had Cleveland at Houston still. There you go, Josh Tomlin. So, Scott Feldman is an interesting guy tomorrow. StatCast has been kind to him this year. He's not given up hard contact. He's not getting barreled. But this Cleveland lineup in Cincinnati is, I think it's going to be somewhere that people look to.
That should be Tomlin, right? Not Fulmer.
It is Tomlin now. It's switched.
Oh, I can't see it.
Sorry.
Cool. Yeah, no, definitely. I think this Vegas kind of has this game a bit of a pick 'em. It opened at a 9 over under, um, and definitely an intriguing game. I agree. Now we've been talking a bit. We've talked a bit over his last few starts with Tomlin becoming a ground ball pitcher. You know, looking at his career numbers based over this year, he's at top 10 ground ball to fly ball ratio in the majors as a starter this year. Got shelled his last start after having a great 8 inning performance the start before.
Even the start to that game, Mike, he had 5 strikeouts in the first 6 batters, and then got shelled and didn't make it out of the 3rd or 4th inning. The turnaround.
Yeah, it was disappointing, for sure. Definitely a sneaky play. I remember I just talked about JC Ramirez. He's down here at 7,300 as an SB2 option on DraftKings. Josh Tomlin, 7,200. So people are going to be going to Ramirez. The ownership for Tomlin is generally going to probably be a lot lower since they're the same price.
Now, do you look to
not a great play, but
do you look to stack Cleveland here? I personally don't find myself having them as my number. I don't even have them in my top 3 stacks right now. That could change, but initial thoughts, not really on Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much deep red there for Feldman.
I just think he's kind of pitching true to his career numbers. His fly ball percentage is right around the same, giving up a little more hard contact, also striking out a couple more batters. But those StatCast numbers really jump off the board to me. I mean, the fact that an 83 average exit velocity in a hitter's park, I think, is huge because we talk about that 95-mile-an-hour threshold, right? That is the threshold that they've determined, is kind of the best. That and above is kind of the best outcome for hits or balls batted. And the fact that the farther away from that you get, the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then for those of you guys interested, we rank all of the StatCast metrics on each individual slate. So you look at what each pitcher for this slate, and so if you look at our StatCast page or whatever, it has everyone that's pitching this slate and what their average exit velocity is. And Scott Feldman has the best on the slate. Not only for average exit velocity, but also a 95+ percentage, which is the percentage of batted ball events that have been hit 95+ or better, like you just said. So, top StatCast pitcher on the slate is if you value those numbers.
Yeah, he's so the number 1 is Vargas. Feldman's 2, so those two are.
It is 2.
Yeah, I will say this: Feldman, he's not blowing up the pitcher sheet. He's definitely in the bottom half, and he actually gets a boost, he gets a penalty when we factored in Cleveland as his opponent. So there is that to take into account. But
you're saying when we combine with the matchup? I was just talking about in raw numbers. He's got the best average exit velocity.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah. No, Vargas with our math is the best on that particular StatCast. But yes, I agree. He has the lowest exit velocity. It's going to be interesting because, he's not the worst pitcher on the slate. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 pitchers below him on the pitcher sheet, so that doesn't signal to me that he's the guy you stack against. But he also isn't a guy I'm not going to play him. I think people are going to be on Cleveland, and so that's kind of
where. Yeah, I think so too. I think it'd be a nice little tournament fade, especially with how expensive this stack would be. So
yeah.
I'll stay away with you, bro. Who do you think the masses will be on Cleveland?
I think you'll probably take your usual Kipnis leading off, if he does, in fact, still lead off, which he probably will. I think you still take that. That'll garner high ownership, especially at a position that's really weak in second base. There's not a lot there ever. So you pair that with a guy that's going to get the most at bats on the team. Lindor is still kind of cheap on FanDuel at 36. Brantley's price is creeping way up. You may see him get the least amount of ownership. You might see more people go on Encarnacion than Santana for his lower price tag. And we all know he has just as much power upside. And then Lonnie Chisenhall is a guy that's starting to creep up in price that has shown some power this year. So I could see any 4 of those 5 right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see myself going down to like a Jose Ramirez, Lonnie Chisenhall stack just because against the righty in a hitter's park that favors lefties.
Yeah.
So I can see it.
Now, what about the Cincy side? Votto, Duval, Suarez. I mean, Schebler too. Schebler's been getting a little hot as of late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think you can attack Tomlin. I think. I don't know that I'm like
they're not my
super sold.
Yeah, I find myself fading most of this game actually.
Yeah.
I don't find myself on a Cincy stack. I think you can make a case for it against Tomlin, but the way he's changed his pitching style kind of worries me. I think he's going to emphasize his ground ball pitching even more in this hitter's park.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
So
maybe I look at the weak positions more so than the other. Like, I probably won't look at Votto because it's probably better at first base options.
Yep, for the price.
For the price, right?
I think.
And then Suarez at third base at 4,600. That's way too much money on DraftKings, man.
Yeah, he's 3,300 on FanDuel. That's a fair price for him. I think Cozart at shortstop at a weak position. I'd rather go Beckham personally, but you can make the argument for Cozart. And then Tucker Barnhart's not a bad catcher punt at 2,300.
Yeah, you can see that punt. Also worth noting, Cleveland loses their DH, so yeah. Tomlin probably gets a bump in strikeout percentage.
Yeah. You mean Feldman?
No, Tomlin going up against the NL team, you know.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I mean, it could. I mean that
having two, additional.
I got you.
At bats versus the pitcher.
Pittsburgh, Atlanta. So Pittsburgh kind of turned it around the past couple days. They've hurt everyone when they were chalk the other day. But I think in Atlanta, we know this park is huge to lefties. So automatically, I'm looking at Josh Bell, whose price has dipped a little bit at first base. John Jaso is a potential play. I think, obviously, you can't play both on FanDuel, but DraftKings, he's outfield eligible. David Freese has actually had a really nice year against righties. We've always thought of him as a platoon guy, but he's kind of turned it on versus righties this year. He's got a 214 ISO, home run every 18 at bats. Typically, like I said, we saw that versus lefties, but.
Yeah, Freese, I think there's been a lot made about his move to Pittsburgh, going away from being the hometown hero in St. Louis, and apparently he was battling stuff mentally, and I don't know, he's been probably the best hitter as far as like just putting the ball in play on that team. And then I don't know, you look at Josh Bell, man, what he's doing this year. It's kind of nuts.
I think if you're gonna play one play from this Pittsburgh side, it's got to be Josh Bell, lefty in this park. That's the guy I play, and he's sub 3K on FanDuel. He's a little expensive on DraftKings at 4,200, but 2,900 on FanDuel is pretty.
It's just crazy. Price. I mean, when they brought him up last year, he had 152 plate appearances, hit 3 home runs, in the same amount of plate appearances this year he has 9. Like, I don't know that they really thought of him as a home run hitter. He only hit 14 in AAA the year before. So he's on pace to destroy his career minor league home run numbers in his rookie year, really.
Yeah.
So that to me almost doesn't make sense enough to like question Josh Bell. But like you said, this is the spot, man. Fulton Evans has played terrible at home this year. And there's a reason for this. This is such a hitter's park. I feel like the pricing hasn't even adjusted to the fact of how much this is a hitter's park yet. I mean, I feel like, if this was any other big hitter's park, you'd see some bigger prices here. I mean, on some of these bats, for sure.
Someone mentioned Matt Adams, and I forgot about that. I think there's a play there as well. If he does start, he did today. This park is going to favor him.
Yeah, they did a good job.
So I like that. But Dewey does make a good point on, without Freeman, this lineup is kind of, well, not kind of, is weak. Matt Kemp's the one guy that, is going to be a concern, but Garrett Cole, I think, is really, really interesting in this. Your power bats are Kemp and Matt Adams if he plays. Jace Peterson from the left side is not power, not big power. Markakis no longer has power. NCarte has really cooled off. So Garrett Cole could be a play that I don't think anybody's really on tomorrow.
It's a fair point. I think it's more of a tournament play. Garrett Cole coming into this game has 8 straight quality starts. He is once again the ace of the staff after a subpar year. That had people kind of worried, but again, 8 straight quality starts is no joke. But again, pitcher.
He's come back strong.
He has, and the strikeout numbers are still there. His WHIP is top 10 in the league among starters.
His average is way down compared to his career average. So.
Yep. So I think that's an interesting play. I'm not something I'm super high on, especially like in a cash game because of this ballpark. You mentioned Matt Adams. I think Atlanta's kind of showing some cards here by going out and signing a guy. I don't know that in the beginning of the year you could have been told that. If Freeman went down, would they go out and sign somebody or trade for somebody? I think I would have expected them to just kind of like bring in next man up and kind of sleepwalk through this year.
You know what it tells you is how bad the NL East is. That division went from one of the best to one of the worst. The Braves would be second best in any other division besides the NL West.
Yeah.
That's how bad the NL East is.
It's the Nats are running away with it for sure. But they got a bunch of young pieces too. It's not a terrible move, I don't think. So
no, not at all.
See what happens. I think going forward, especially in the new ballpark, trying to fill the seat. So I kind of like that move. What they did. This is an intriguing game. I think Hitters Park. Most people are going to be on the bats, trying to jam people in. So I think you'll see an increased ownership. Josh Bell's price on DraftKings is absurd.
Yeah, 4,200 is too much, but 29 on FanDuel is very fair.
Yeah, I think you'll see some high ownership for Josh Bell on FanDuel tomorrow. So.
But I do like Adams if he plays.
Definitely worth it.
He's 2,200 on FanDuel, so look out for that play.
Yeah.
San Fran and Chicago. Preliminary winds blowing out to right, so it's going to favor lefties. That's probably the hardest part of the park to hit it out in. If you can hit it on a straight line out to right field, you can get it over that porch. But if it's not a straight line, good luck trying to get it out of there. That right center field is hell for batters. So, where do we...
And pitchers.
No, it's good for pitchers.
Well, I just mean this park in general. People don't really want to play in or pitch in or play in, really. I think the wind is probably why there's no Vegas line yet.
Yeah.
Vegas has been getting burned.
And the Cubs, they have seemingly flipped a switch as well. They are putting up mad runs again. They found their
Chris
stride.
Bryant.
And so, 2 home runs again today. Anthony Rizzo hit a home run. Ben Zobrist hit a leadoff home run. Javier Baez hit a grand slam the other day. I'd imagine Albert Almora Jr. starts tomorrow against a lefty. Probably John Jaycee's the bench. Although, actually, Jason Hayward probably plays, so never mind. They'll probably flip this. They'll probably play.
Yeah, if they have a lead, though, they like to double switch with Almora.
Oh, I agree. No, I'm just saying for the starting lineup, I imagine you'll go back to seeing Hayward in 6 and Baez batting 9th.
I'm just saying that's something that I've been looking at more so because it seems like if they have a lead, they like to double switch and take out Hayward or Schwarber and put in Almora and kind of loses an at bat for a high-priced player. Just one of those things that you have to continue to watch baseball to really see,
Schwarber
and then you got Lackey, on the other hand, got the trifecta over there of red.
Yeah, but I don't know if Lackey's someone I want to attack. Brandon Belt I see as a one-off, and maybe Brandon Crawford, but I don't know if I attack Lackey, even though just the park, man.
You just gotta look for the highest probability of a homer. maybe one off. I agree.
Probably Denard Span starts tomorrow. They'll probably move Joe Panic down here and Justin Ruggiano.
San Francisco's kind of been coming alive a bit too, right?
Yeah, they're
Or was
back.
that just?
Yeah, no, they almost, if they had beaten the Cardinals today, they had a sweep. They didn't, but had they? So
Yeah, I don't know. I think Chris Bryant has to stay in play until he cools off, man.
especially against the lefty, we know what Chris Bryant does to lefties. That's not even fair.
Yeah.
And
Wind blowing out to right.
yeah, it's gonna favor a left-handed bat, but Chris Bryant can still hit a home run. His power can defeat any amount of wind. So
Yeah. No, he's heating up, man. After kind of a poor April, I guess with the temps heating up in a brisk Chicago,
and you know who
kind of helps out.
who's in play is Anthony Rizzo, man. He's not someone that struggles versus lefties. I believe he has the most home runs versus lefties in the last couple of years, as a lefty versus a lefty. So you factor in the wind blowing out there, plenty of power there as well. So and he's less than Votto. I would
No one's gonna be on Rizzo too. I don't think. I mean, batting 189 in the season.
I don't think so either. So I kind of like that play if you're going to stack Cubs. And I do think Ty Block is someone you can attack. He's been very polarizing this year. He's gone from, he's not a strikeout guy at all, so we know that. But he's gone from, great ground ball, but he can also get blown up very easily. And I think this Cubs team is a team that can exploit any mistakes.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Detroit and Houston. Brad Peacock.
Brad Peacock
I don't think.
getting the spot start for Keuchel.
Yeah, most people associate, those beautiful feathers with peacocks. I don't think this game is very beautiful for Brad tomorrow.
No, I don't think so either. Don't look at those. Don't let those numbers fool you either. This guy is their long reliever. He hasn't pitched, I don't think, more than 3 innings this year. He made 5 starts last year, and does possess some K upside.
Yeah, definitely.
So in his 5 starts last year, had a 3.65 ERA. 21 starts in AAA last year, had a 9.15 K per 9. So does have some K upside, but again, we're looking at a bullpen game for Houston, and Houston has one of the, if not the best bullpen in the league.
Let's see what they've done over the last 7. So Houston, where they at? Over the last 7, they've actually given up quite a few. They strike out a ton, but they have a 5 ERA over the last 30, which is a larger sample size. They are a top 10 team, give with a 3.33 ERA. So it's just as of late that they've struggled. Could be a number of reasons looking into that. That's why we include both the last 7 and the last 30. But very, very good over the last 30 days. Yeah, I just know
they do strike out a ton. It's like 33% on the year or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And Detroit does strike out a ton as well.
Yeah, JD Martinez and Justin Upton did that quite a few times tonight. I saw it live.
But yeah, I don't think you can play Peacock again. I don't think he's really going to be in line for an extended outing today. Again, getting a spot start for Keuchel. Fulmer, on the other hand, facing a team that hasn't struck out much this year. They went from a team that was striking out a ton last year, and they're one of the best teams in the league versus righties as far as striking out. So, in regards to playing Fulmer, I don't know that I'm really on it in this hitter's park against one of the best lineups in the American League.
Let's see what they've done. So Houston, over the last 10, where'd they go? Very middle of the pack, but yeah, striking out only at a 20% clip versus righties. They do have a 340 WOBA and a 217 ISO as a team. So they have hit 16 home runs, which is fourth most in the league over the last 14 days versus righties. So pair that with a hitter's ballpark, I definitely think. I don't know if I stack Houston against Fulmer. I think Fulmer is a good pitcher. However,
absolutely having a great year.
Yeah. However, I don't think I play Fulmer. He's a GPP player.
Exactly. Yeah, he is. He is kind of a GPP pivot off of probably Pineda and I guess Pineda's kind of a GPP guy too, but I think Greinke will have some ownership against the White Sox today. So I'm sure he's a little bit of a pivot against a better lineup in Houston.
Yeah.
Fulmer on the year. Let's see his quality start percentage. I know he's been playing well, so let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 for 8 in quality starts this season. So,
wow. There you go.
And that's against teams. Some of the better teams he's played are Boston and only Baltimore. The rest have been the Angels, Oakland, White Sox, Minnesota twice, Tampa Bay. So, not a lot of quality opponents in there.
So it could be a little flawed, the numbers, but we'll see. I still don't think I attack him tomorrow, but again, I don't think I play him either. There's other pitchers that I like more for his price.
Yeah. Dude, man, what can we say about Alex Avila, though?
Yeah. I'd imagine. Do you think he'll start again tomorrow?
I don't see how they take his bat out of the lineup, man.
Probably put him back in the 2-hole, Miggy at 4. Probably go JD Martinez again. Upton, Castellanos. Yeah.
Given 40 batted ball events, he leads the league in 95+ percentage and is third behind Sano and Aaron Judge in average exit velocity.
Does he really? He leads the league in 95+?
Given 40 batted ball events.
Let's see.
It's 66%. Average exit velocity given 40+. Sano, Judge, Sanchez, then
wow.
Avila.
Yeah, I mean, look at these three right here, Mike, in a row. Avila, Cabrera, Martinez. So in 42 at-bats, Avila, 66% of his balls go 95+ miles an hour. That's a 2/3. Miguel has 76 at-bats and 57%, almost 58. And JD Martinez, although very
limited, only 14 batter balls.
Yeah, 57%.
Yeah, but I think given the sample size of 40 batted balls, leading the league at 66% is pretty unreal. I think he's batting almost 400 this season, just kind of on a tear right now. So,
throw in Justin Upton too, 81 batted balls and 45%.
Yeah.
So that core of the lineup.
He hasn't really been as hot. I think Justin Upton, he really doesn't put the ball in play as much.
He's cooled off a little bit. He started better. But, I mean, that's
he does hit the ball hard when he makes contact, that's for sure.
We talk about Peacock, high fly ball rate, so you probably get, 4 innings? Maybe 5 if we're lucky. 5 would probably be contingent. If you're getting 5 innings out of Peacock, you probably aren't on Detroit because you're implying that they don't score a lot, and, he's able to pitch deeper than they anticipate. But on the flip, I think Avila, Cabrera, Martinez, and Upton are all in play.
I mentioned those 21 starts in AAA for Peacock last year. He had an ERA of 5.4 with an xFIP of 5.5.
Yeah, so clearly can be targeted in Houston. So I like it. I like a Detroit stack. Now here, this might be one of my favorite plays on this slate in Zach Greinke. And I think people are actually not going to be on Greinke. And the reason I say that is recency bias. People are going to look at what Chicago has done over the last couple games and not realize who they've played.
I don't know, man. I still think on this slate, Greinke's he's got to pay up to.
You think people are going to be all over him?
I mean, I think he's the guy to pay up to over Fulmer and Pineda.
I think he'll get less ownership than he normally would.
I still think, again, I think he gets more ownership than both those two guys.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think he'll be like 50% chalk. At least on FanDuel. On DraftKings, probably. But again, I'm thinking from a FanDuel perspective. You guys, so remember that part. I'm thinking FanDuel, Mike's thinking DraftKings. On FanDuel, where you only get one pitcher, I don't know if Greinke's that guy that gets. I don't know if there's any guy that gets 50% ownership tomorrow.
What's the price differential between him and the second price guy?
I'll tell you right
on
now.
FanDuel.
Hey,
I might play into it. Not a lot of cheap stacks tomorrow.
I cashed on the late. Barely.
There you go.
By 2 points.
I didn't play late.
Brandon McCarthy, though. Yo, that pitcher sheet was all over Brandon McCarthy, highest rated pitcher. Steven Strasburg. Brandon McCarthy, highest on the late. Steven Strasburg absolutely went out and balled today. He was the highest overall in the entire slate. So there's Greinke at 10-3, Cole at 10-8. I'm sorry, 9-8. Michael Fulmer 9-7. John Lackey 8-9. Pineda 8-7. Garrett Cole.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. A lot of difference in the two sites then, because you have Greinke at 12,000.
Yeah.
And the next price guy is Pineda at 10.5. Then it's Fulmer at 9.9, Cole at 9.7.
Yeah, you have three guys within $600 of each other on FanDuel. So again, I really think that this ownership is going to get spread out, and I think some people. I don't think he gets more ownership than Cole, but I think some ownership does go to Cole tomorrow, for the fact that he's playing Atlanta without Freeman.
I don't know, man. I think people are all over the fact that that's a hitter's park. I really think people are just fading pitchers in that park. And then you look at Greinke, he's posted 6 straight 20+ DraftKings performances. I mean, these been kind of lights out.
He's definitely rebounded this year, that is for sure.
Yeah, that slider's nasty.
The one concern with Greinke is his Ks are way up at home, and his average is way down. But when he gets hit, they're fly balls. Almost 50% fly ball rate at home this year, and the highest hard contact. So definitely above his yearly average at home, but he also strikes out more and gives up less of an average. So kind of contradicting stats there. But again, I really don't think this White Sox lineup is 10-run potential good. They played Giovanni Gallardo, Chris Heston, and then the Mariners bullpen for 2 days, which is probably one of the worst in baseball.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think this is a good play for Greinke. It's a plus K matchup. You know, if you look at the season, White Sox are a top 5 team in K percentage versus righties at 27% or 22%, I think. You know, Greinke has 8+ Ks in 4 of his last 5 starts. Yeah, this is a plus K matchup for a guy who's been pitching very well. I think is easily the best pitcher on the slate. I just am worried about paying $12K for him. That's that $1,000 price increase.
Yeah.
On DraftKings, and if you look at, that's a lot of money. So I mean, you got Cole and Greinke both in hitters parks, and Pineda is in a hitters park as well. So is Fulmer. So the top 4 guys on the slate, all you could probably say are in hitters parks. So.
And this might be the best one of them all. And the temperature is 100 degrees.
Tomorrow. Yeah, I agree.
100 degrees. Tomorrow. That is off the charts good for hitters. So, on the flip, Mike, Arizona bats, stack them.
Yeah, I think Miguel Gonzalez, that fly ball rate.
Yep.
I mean, he doesn't give up much hard contact, but
that fly ball rate in this pitcher or in this
ball in
park.
That humid air, yeah.
Peralta against the righty is money, and he's cheap, 3,100. He's going to see a huge amount of ownership tomorrow. I already know that. Lamb
as well.
Yep, Lamb at 4.
All these 4 guys are going to see a lot of ownership.
I like Drury for 2,700 at second base. I think that is I would rather pay for Drury than Kipnis tomorrow. And then Yosmani Thomas has hit righties really well this year.
Wow. Jake Lamb is higher priced than Paul Goldschmidt on DraftKings. Never thought I'd see that day.
He is.
Goodness. He's actually higher priced than Mike Trout as well. So, yeah. I don't know.
On FanDuel, it's easy. For 4-3,
you can't pay Greinke and Lamb. You can't stack Arizona and play Greinke on DraftKings. I'd look at a 2-man. I'd probably go, I don't know, man. Maybe Tomas and Drury.
I like Drury tomorrow. I think he's the guy that gets left out of that stack quite often. But I love Peralta on FanDuel. The fact that he's 3-1, that's way too cheap for what he can do versus righties. We'll see.
Yeah, all these guys are.
The other guy they may put in here is Ray Fuentes to lead off. He was called up to replace Pollock. Let's see what his price is. Throw him in there and see what his price is. He is.
What about Owings? Is Owings only playing versus lefties now?
I don't know. I mean, he could play. They probably will slide him in here for Ahmed.
I imagine that he will play.
Yeah, so he's 32. Wow, he's 45 on FanDuel, Mike.
Owings?
Owens is 4,500 on FanDuel. Or, I'm sorry, on DraftKings.
Yeah, they're all priced up. So is Peralta.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't stack, and especially Greinke's priced up too. So I don't see how you can play Greinke and stack
You
the
can't.
Diamondbacks
You
tomorrow.
can't on DraftKings. You can't on FanDuel.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to continue to fade Goldschmidt, honestly. At a position that's so deep like first base, I just can't ever justify paying near 5K for that guy. I know he's one of the best in the game, but he's not miles ahead of anyone else like his price is indicating.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, you can save $1,000 and play Mark Reynolds against Eichhoff. You can save almost $2,000 and play Kenny Vargas against Ubaldo.
Yep. So I think I go there personally.
Yeah, I'll recommend stacking against Greinke.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. I mean, if Greinke is the chalk on DraftKings, like you're talking about, you always got to.
Oh, they will be.
You always got to talk about stacking against the chalk, and you can make the case here. Let's, Larry Garcia, Melky Cabrera, both those guys leading off. Let's throw in Matt Davidson, who's been hot. Let's throw in Tim Anderson, who's been hot. Hit another home run today. In Safeco, transfer that to Chase Field now, hitter's park. Todd Frazier still got legit power. I mean, there is power in this lineup. So I'm not gonna stack against Greinke because I'm gonna play him personally. But if you want to be really contrarian, there's a stack that is viable to be made here.
I mean, the more I think about it, the more I feel like he's going to be more chalky on FanDuel, especially just because you have to pay another, $1,500 to get to him.
Yeah.
And because of what the White Sox have been doing. So it's like, the people are going to really just kind of jam in Greinke for that really elevated price,
Rob says, I'm so glad that Arizona's priced up. He doesn't want to try and have to get 280 points again.
Right?
Dude, I was playing a 50-50 in FanDuel today in the main. I scored 150, and I was 30 points away from the cash line in a 50-50.
Wow. That was today?
That was today. It's because the Cubs were chalk again.
Yep. Oh, man, yeah, that's a lot of money for those bats on Arizona. I mean, you said the same thing about, these guys are priced up in Chase Field on the White Sox, too. I mean, Tim Anderson at $4,200. That's a lot of money for that dude.
That is.
So, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do with this game. I kind of am just thinking perhaps I like Greinke if he fits my lineup. Haven't built my lineups yet, but I want to have him in. I'm going to try and build my lineups around him.
And then go from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so give me. Obviously, I don't think we can really. We can have 3 team stacks. I don't know who's in them yet, but give me your 3 favorite pitchers so far on the slate preliminary.
Yeah, let's do pitchers to target, pitchers to pitch,
All
pitchers to throw
I'm down.
instead of stacks.
All right.
My favorite pitchers to throw today are Cole, Pineda, and Greinke.
All right. I'm gonna go Greinke, Cole, and Vargas is gonna be my GPP play. However, if and when I see this Kansas City lineup and it is severely depressed from the fact that they play doubleheaders, you may see a full switch to Pineda and actually a fade of Greinke, depending on that lineup. So keep in mind that.
Yeah, I kind of hope that happens and people get off Greinke too.
Yeah, that too.
People get mad tilted late lock or not when late lineups.
Yeah, when lineups come out. All right,
Yeah.
and your 3 favorite pitchers to target.
My favorite pitchers to target, I think, are let's see. I'm gonna go Ubaldo, Gibson, and Eichhoff.
I got Ubaldo, Gibson, and Miguel Gonzalez. Arizona stack is my favorite one of the day. So.
Yeah. I think you're not going to be alone on that. I think highest opened up at the highest implied run total at 5.3.
Yep. They're going to be chalk.
Also, the money line opened up at a negative 195. That's also highest on the slate. Second highest implied run total goes to Baltimore at 5.12 against Kyle Gibson.
It's funny. Those are the two teams I'm looking at stacking. I haven't built lineups, so I don't know how it's going to work, but that's where I'm going.
Yep, I think it screws with you. I imagine other people will. I think if you, for my contrarian stack, like, man, my contrarian stack would have to be probably Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh or Detroit.
Mine's gonna be Atlanta. I can pair Matt Kemp, Matt
Not
Adams,
Detroit, Houston.
Matt Kemp, Matt Adams, and why not throw NCRT in there?
Yeah, maybe. Either way, I think should be fun, man. I think there's a lot of I guess polarizing options with these pitchers, you know.
Yeah.
And the fact that the top 4 pitchers are all in hitters' parks too makes for an interesting slate for sure.
Yeah, buddy. So we will be back tomorrow. We will do a show around 4:30 Eastern. That'll be Slack only. We'll have obviously most of the lineups in. These black boxes will not be there. We'll have all the stats open for you guys, and we will break down obviously updated thoughts on the lineups, kind of where we're at. And we'll give a more in-depth breakdown. Like I said, once we have all the lineups, it's a lot easier to make decisions because, you know, one of the biggest decisions for me right now is Pineda. And if it's the current KC lineup, no. But if it is depressed, then absolutely.
Yeah, I think going forward for the payoff pitch, guys, I think this is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to bring you this slate breakdown. You know, it'll be live on YouTube around 11 my time, and then we'll try to put it into an audio version for you guys to have on a podcast, or you guys can kind of listen to it whenever you have time during the day tomorrow. And then for our Slack members, we'll do a focus lock show about a couple hours before lock. That's kind of how we're going to move going forward.
Yeah, exactly.
So let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. Let us know.
Yes, sir. So have a wonderful night, guys. Appreciate you tuning in as always. And we will talk to you in Slack.